Hit record before you.
There we go. Now we're recording. All right. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for joining my presentation. I want to start off by acknowledging that I live and work in Cranbrook, British Columbia, on the homelands of the Ktunaxa and Kinbasket nations. It is a privilege for me to learn, share, and practice on this traditional territory, and I am grateful for this opportunity. So I work at the College of the Rockies as an auxiliary instructor and lab assistant in the Certified Dental Assisting program. Today, I'm going to be presenting to you the courseware known as Visible Body. So what is Visible Body? Have you ever taught or taken an anatomy and physiology course and just wished that you could have something concrete to look at? Something that you could move around and have access to 24/7, maybe remove bones and see what lies underneath? Well, look no further. So Visible Body is a learning management system that focuses on anatomy and physiology in 3D. It can also be integrated into other LMSs such as Blackboard, Canvas, and Moodle. Anatomy and physiology can be difficult and abstract to learn. Learners are usually bouncing around, reading from textbooks, referencing 2D images, utilizing models, and if they're lucky, able to examine cadavers. Using models and cadavers is a really great tool, but what happens when the time allotted isn't enough for you to understand the concept? That's where Visible Body can help. You actually get to take these 3D images with you anywhere, and you have all the information you could need without having to switch between different sources. So how do we get Visible Body? Sadly, it's not free, but luckily it doesn't break the bank. For only $50 per student per year, they get access to all of the courseware they're enrolled in, plus all of the apps that are included with it. So if this course were to be offered completely on Visible Body, it would actually save the students a lot of money from buying all of those expensive textbooks. So let's face it, reading from a textbook can be quite boring and doesn't apply to all learners' needs. Visible Body will transform your 2D textbook into 3D software. They even have an app that can be downloaded onto your phone, making it accessible anywhere you go. So we've all had those days where we're sitting in a classroom and maybe we're not 100% present, or it maybe takes us a little bit longer to understand a concept. So no worries with Visible Body. You get to open the app on your phone on the long bus ride home or while you're waiting for your dinner to cook and experience 3D technology with tons of information to help you learn the concept at your own pace. I have a quote here from Dr. Cindy Harley from the Metropolitan State University. She said that Visible Body allows students to learn in much smaller snippets. And it turns out that everything we know about human learning is that you are better off in smaller snippets. Your attention span is actually very short. It's 15 minutes or less. So if you're studying in 15-minute chunks, you're probably going to retain a little bit more information. So this screen is the main screen when using Visible Body. On the left-hand side, you'll see the courses tab, and this will show you all of the courses that you and your learners will have access to. One of the really cool things about this courseware is that they have a large database of textbooks that they have already converted into 3D courseware. But what if you use a textbook and you can't find it on the courseware already? It's not a problem. All you have to do is contact your Visible Body rep and they'll get it downloaded into here and into your 3D courseware right away. Keeping on the left-hand side there, instructor resources. Under that tab, you'll find pre-made flashcards, lab activities and answer keys, pre-made courses, and more. So I've said pre-made a couple of times, which I think is just amazing. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel. As instructors, we have a lot going on, and I was so thrilled to find out that we don't have to make everything ourselves. We can absolutely change things to our needs, but a lot of the time things are already made for us. Next, there's the question bank and the quiz bank, which are filled with pre-made questions and quizzes. And then we have the My Apps tool. So My Apps has included in it the Human Anatomy Atlas, which is a 3D encyclopedia of the human body. There's the Anatomy and Physiology app, where you can study the human body at your own pace using pre-made courses, visuals, and interactive chapters. And then there's the Physiology and Pathology app, which is a guide to processes and common diseases in the human body. So as mentioned before, Visible Body already has pre-made quizzes and assignments for your use. Here I have an example of a question on a pre-made quiz. It asks to select a lateral incisor, which I have selected and is now highlighted in blue. The learner will then submit and will go through the rest of the quiz. At the end of the quiz, the learner will be given their grade immediately and can review and/or retake the quiz if allowed by their instructor. Their marks are then automatically put into their gradebook into the system, which they can check at any time. The gradebook also makes it really easy for instructors to evaluate where each student is at and can see where one may be struggling. When instructors are setting up quizzes and assignments, they must set due dates for each one. So this will automatically place it into every enrolled learner's calendar, which makes it really easy for them to keep organized and to stay on track. I'm just going to admit another person here. There we go. All right. So you can also make flashcards for your learners, or they can create their own to benefit their own needs. These are not your regular flashcards. So the flashcards in that picture there looked much like my own when I took the dental assisting course, and they were scattered all over and really hard to keep organized. So here you can create them right on the courseware. You can create flashcards that move. So for example, if you want to see the muscles of the face moving or the lower jaw hinging up and down, you can actually make that happen on your flashcard.
Wow.
The system will also automatically add the correct answers to the back of your flashcard once you've labeled a section, which takes a lot of work out of the learners creating their own flashcards, and it also makes sure that they're adding the correct answers and they're studying the proper information. So I just have a quick video here of what those look like. Just have to make sure that I'm sharing my sound. All right.
I've pre-made a couple of flashcards to show you what these look like. The first one here, we want to label the muscles of the face. We have them labeled from 1 to 5, and here's where the learners get to start testing their knowledge. Once they think they have all of the muscles down pat, they're going to flip the flashcard over. All they have to do is click anywhere on the flashcard, and it turns around to the back. And it gives us our answers. Now, our answers just give us the names of the muscles, but you can add as much or as little information to these flashcards as you like. Say you also want to add on what these muscles do, you can do that while you're creating your flashcard. So let's say we got 3 out of the 5 muscles correct. So we don't quite understand all of the muscles on this flashcard. We really need to come back to it and study this one a little bit more. Down in the bottom middle, we have a red thumbs down and a green thumbs up. So say we got 5 out of 5, we would definitely click on the green thumbs up. We only got 3 out of 5, so we are going to click on the red thumbs down, which is going to put this flashcard into a separate queue that we can go back to later and make sure that we know that we need to restudy that flashcard instead of having to go through the entire deck again. The next flashcard is labeling parts of the heart. We're feeling pretty good about this one. We flip it around to the back side and awesome, we got 5 out of 5. So we are going to select the green thumbs up. If by chance we really weren't sure on this one and we didn't want to test ourselves, we can select the gray finger pointing the other way. So we can skip this flashcard, which will also put it into a queue that later on we can come back to and only go through the flashcards that we skipped. But we got 5 out of 5 on this one, so we select the green thumbs up. Our last flashcard is really cool because it actually moves. So you can do this with joints or muscles, and it really helps you to see what you're looking at. It gives you that really awesome visual aid. We flip it around and we got that all correct. We select the green thumbs up. At the end, it's going to tell us our results. So out of the 3, we have 2 of the cards memorized. 1 card we're not quite sure with yet, and we didn't skip any. If we select next steps, we have a couple of options. We can review this entire deck again, or we can just review the cards that were missed. We can edit the deck, or we can just say that we are done.
So this is the view of the next app, or the first app that I'm going to talk about. This is the Human Anatomy Atlas app. So you can see different body views that are available to you. You can explore different regions of the body systems, gross anatomy labs, cross sections of the body, microanatomy, and muscle actions. So I have another video for you here that's going to show how the Human Anatomy Atlas app works. This app is really neat. So if you aren't ready to completely switch over your course onto Visible Body and use it to its full extent, this is a really great starter as it gets the learners hands-on with 3D images.
Here's a quick overview of the Human Anatomy Atlas app. Above, we have the different views. So as mentioned in the previous slide, we've got regions, systems, gross anatomy lab, and so on. If we select images at the top, it pulls up all the images that are used in the course. So if you didn't want to go back and find the chapter that specific image was in, because as we know that can be extremely time consuming, we can come here and find what image we were looking for. Media does the same thing as images, but it just pulls up all of the animations. Study is where you'll find your flashcards, quizzes, and lab activities, which is where you will find your augmented reality. My library is where you will find anything that you have saved throughout your courseware. So I'm going to go back to views and show you just a quick simple view of the skull. So here we have it right in front of us. It does look like a 2D image. However, you can select down and slide over on your mouse or your mouse pad if you're using a laptop, and we get a really good side view, back view, side view again, and all the way up to the front. We can look at the top of the skull if we want to look at certain sutures, or we can look underneath and get a really cool different view there. We can also zoom in and we can zoom out. So say we're curious about what a certain bone is. This is what we're studying. We're studying bones of the face. We need to select a bone and it will highlight it in blue. On the right-hand side, it's going to tell us what that bone is called. So this is the zygomatic. This book here will give us the definition and all of the information we need to know. The next one will tell us pathologies of that certain bone. And then the speaker will actually give us the pronunciation. So a lot of times anatomy and physiology terms can be quite long and very difficult. So this will give us the pronunciation.
Body of the zygomatic.
Great. Now, the really tough thing with learning in 2D is that it's very difficult to see the bones underneath other bones. What's really awesome with this courseware is that you can remove bones to see what's underneath. So we're going to hide the bone that we have selected. We're going to select one more and hide that. And now all of a sudden, we have all of these other bones that we can take a look at. We can select them and it will tell us exactly what it is up here. I'm going to go back to the menu very quickly down at the bottom left. And I want to show you one of my favorites, and this is the muscle actions. So yes, you can see muscle actions in videos, but this is going to give us a really cool animation without having to leave the courseware to find a YouTube video of how these muscles work. So I'm going to select on the mandible retraction. The mandible is our lower jaw, and it's going to give us just a quick video of how this muscle actually retracts the lower jaw. I always found this very difficult when I was taking the dental assisting course to understand where these muscles really were and how they actually moved certain areas of the face. So for me, this would have been really helpful during the course that I was taking.
All right, I have another video, and this one's going to show the courseware, the actual courseware, and it uses the Anatomy and Physiology app. So here I'll demonstrate how you can utilize the entire software as an all-around learning management system.
Here's where you'll find all of the courses that you and your students are enrolled in. So we're going to start off with the dental anatomy course. We select that one and it's going to give us all of our assignments here. I'm going to scroll down and go to the oral cavity anatomy assignment. It has a drop-down menu of everything that's included in this assignment, so we're going to start from the beginning. It tells us its availability, the due date, which is set by the instructor, and the source that we're going to be using, which is the Anatomy and Physiology app. So it's going to bring us directly to that app from here. It also gives a quick description on what you'll see during this assignment. And down here, it will tell us the type that we have involved in these assignments as well. So the first one is an illustration. The second one will have a 3D view. Next, we'll have an animation, and then back to another 3D view. Now we're in the Anatomy and Physiology app. Go back to the menu there just to see what that looks like. So here we're doing the digestive system. So that starts off with structures of the oral cavity. Up at the top left, we have a checklist. This tells us where we're at. So it'll also tell us if we've done a quiz or not, where we're at with our assignments, and where we should be. So we'll start with structures of the oral cavity. Like it said before, it was an illustration. So on the side, we have a couple of tools. We can download this image for later use. We can save it so that it's saved to the library in the Human Anatomy Atlas app. We can make our own drawings on it, and we can even add on little sticky notes to help us study. On the left-hand side, we've got a little blurb about the structures of the oral cavity. Moving along, next one, we have the 3D view. So we'll select the first one, and it highlights the teeth for us. Up at the top, again, we've got the book that gives us the definition. We can hide the teeth if we like, which really doesn't help us to see the teeth, which is what we're supposed to be looking at, but we can click again and it will show us. So as going through this assignment, we would select each one, learn all of the information, and you can see up top, we also have the pronunciation speaker.
Soft palate.
So we'll move on to the next one, and this one is an animation. So this shows us a little short video of chewing and swallowing. So I'll show you just a short little clip of this.
Digestion begins in the oral cavity, where the salivary glands, teeth, and the tongue work to break food down into small masses that can be swallowed. The movement of the jaw enables the teeth to grind food. Saliva secreted by salivary glands aids.
So not only do we have a really great animation showing us chewing and swallowing, but it also has closed captioning at the bottom to make it really accessible for everyone. And then we're back to another 3D view. So the students would keep going through all of these assignments until they're done.
All right, the last video I'm going to show you is the augmented reality. So when I was first introduced to Visible Body, I had no idea what augmented reality was until I was shown. So I'm really excited to show you this, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
This screen should look familiar. This is the Human Anatomy Atlas app on my phone. Here is where you're going to access the augmented reality. So in here, we're going to click on the skull. And it looks very similar to what it does on your computer. So you can still move it around, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and you can select anything and it will give you the information, pronunciation, and related content. Down in the bottom left, you can see that there is a 3D box with AR after it. So that's our augmented reality. We're going to select that. And it's going to bring us to this little scanning page. Now I already have a lab activity printed off, which I'm going to scan and scan my area until I see this yellow box. We select the yellow box. It tells us how we can adjust the model, and I'm going to click OK. So now I have the skull in my environment. I can move it around, rotate it, click on anything, and there's my information. So it's a really cool tool for anatomy and physiology to have it right in front of you. It almost feels like it's a real cadaver or a real skull right in your own home. What we can do is we can also click on some animations. And I just lost it. Here we go. Move that up. And we can see that the lower jaw here is actually moving. It's showing us how those muscles are. And if we want something a little bit more in depth, there we have it. We've got a real life human cadaver in 3D right in our very own home.
I apologize for my shakiness on my phone there, but that's a really cool thing that I like to work with there, that augmented reality. So accessibility. This company is used by millions of people around the world in multiple languages, including English, French, German, Chinese, Italian, Japanese, and Spanish. Closed captioning can be turned on to add subtitles to match the audio. The backgrounds can be changed to white, black, or gray for ease of viewing. And you can even change whether you'd like to view a male or a female body. So I could honestly probably spend hours showing you everything that Visible Body can do. I still haven't learned everything that it can do, but obviously I only have about 20 minutes, so I don't have enough time for that. So I'm gonna move on with a few statistics here just to back up the efficacy of this courseware.
Wow.
So Dr. Cindy Harley of Metropolitan State University conducted a study on how Visible Body improves student performance. She gave a webinar explaining the improvement that she noticed in her students' grades and knowledge retention after switching from a textbook to Visible Body. So here are her results. She found a 10% rise in A's, an 8% rise in B's, a 6% drop in C's, 11% drop in F's, and a 10% drop in course withdrawal rates. So those are some pretty awesome results. Dr. Harley was curious if other institutions and instructors were seeing the same results, so she gathered data from 5 other institutions, and here are those results. So 19% more students got A's. What's really cool is that you can see that there was a 6% drop in students who received B's, which isn't enough to make up that 19% of students who received A's, which means that some C students and maybe even some D students are now achieving that A status. So that's really, really awesome to see. You can also see that there is a decrease in F's and course withdrawal rates. So that's a really big win in education, if you ask me. Instructors found that using Visible Body for them was enjoyable and really easy to use, both scoring a 4.8 out of 5 on a survey. Student performance scored a 4.3 out of 5, and student engagement scored a 4.6 out of 5. So I don't know about you, but that last one speaks volumes to me as an instructor. I find it very difficult to engage students these days, and so that's awesome to see. So here I just have a few testimonials from educators that are using Visible Body. So Professor Norbert Adame from Gateway Community College says, I'm really liking this course setup and the fact that it comes with the material for both physiology and anatomy from the Saladin textbook that I use. I'm thinking I could do away with my students' textbook and lab manual required purchases, which would make it so much cheaper for the students. Paul Favada from Sunny Sullivan, my students are finding innovative ways to use the software, ways I didn't think of. It has been a fantastic tool and I can see how it would perfectly fit with all of the other work we usually do in lab, like models, slides, and dissections. And lastly, Stacy Vasquez from Mountain View College says, I can honestly say those who purchase Visible Body are the top performing students in the course. I truly feel it provides the type of support students prefer and need to be successful in the course. It presents the content in a way that is far more enriching than any physical manual I've ever used. So I'm hearing really awesome things here. And I really do believe that Visible Body is a great media tool to incorporate into any course where anatomy and physiology are taught. And that's the end. So now I just have a little Q&A. I'm just wondering if anyone who's watching, does this courseware pertain to anyone's line of work? And if so, would you consider using it?
Yeah, I'd for sure pass this on to the E&P instructor.
Nice.
I teach patho, but yeah, definitely.
That's great. Have you heard of visible body before?
No, not until you posted that's what you were going to do. And then I went on Google search and yeah, this is really neat.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So this, go ahead, Kim.
Sorry, I'm not teaching right now, but I'm wondering, does your institution have to actually purchase the package, or can you purchase it as an individual without a specific course program?
You can purchase it as an individual. So I'll give you a secret here. So a rep actually contacted our course, and so they put them in touch with me, and I've been working off of a trial. And so they don't,
Okay.
our textbook that we use isn't on there. But I still have everything that I could possibly use. And I've been on a trial run for about 2 years now.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
So
a good one.
that's what
Okay.
I would recommend doing.
Thanks for the tip. No, that's really good. I do yoga, and sometimes I work with groups with yoga, and the human body, the way the muscles are working, it's just a great way to illustrate what's going on.
Yes,
And you can plan ahead.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. I feel like when you can actually see it happening, like muscles is so hard to visualize. When you can
Mhm.
see it moving in front of you, it
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
really comes together.
And
Nice.
so many of us are visual, and this just hits it right there.
Yes,
You can only read so much out of a textbook.
it's tough. It's really hard to keep
Mhm.
engaged. I mean, even
Yes.
as an instructor, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of talking. And if you can show it, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's
Mhm.
really neat. So we haven't quite implemented it yet. We're working on it. We've gotten a couple new different digital systems coming into the program that we've been focused on kind of understanding a little bit more. So I'm really hoping that by next year we have this up and running for our students.
Nice.
Yeah. I think this question probably got answered, but with everything presented, do you believe it's a good media tool to use to educate students?
Yes.
Oh, for
Definitely.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds like a sales pitch.
Well, it sounds like you're promoting it at your
Yeah.
school, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So I'm catching your enthusiasm. So
Yeah.
that's great.
I don't get commission off this, I promise.
No, but the quality of the visuals are amazing. They're really good. And the
Yes.
fact that you can see the muscles moving, or the
Yeah,
skeletal structure
contracting and-
moving. Yeah, it's awesome. I won't talk anymore, but yeah, it's a great program. I'm glad you shared it.
Yeah, thank you. I will quickly mention too, so this is Visible Body. They also are working on, or maybe it's out already, Visible Biology. So very similar as well, but
Mhm.
yeah, and biology again is one of those really difficult courses to understand and to put, it's really abstract and it's not concrete. So
Mhm.
I think that's really cool that they've done that as well.
Neat. No,
Yeah.
this is an excellent presentation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
It
so
would-
much.
Yeah, be great for the A&P instructors to watch your presentation.
I'll share it on here, and I don't know how, if you want to use
Yeah.
it, you can absolutely use it and show them.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
welcome.
thank you. It was wonderful.
Mhm.
Thanks. I'll stop recording.
Okay.
All right. Great. Thank you so
Have a
much for
good
coming.
evening.
Thanks.
See you
too.
Stay blessed,
see you on
yes.
Wednesday.
Yes, see you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
See you at 5 Wednesday.